they have 9 wins before the end of the year. They're in a good spot to try and do some damage during Big Ten play. The Gophers start with it. Here's Kenesha Bell. That pull-up jump shot is so lethal. 44% field goal shooter for the season, but misses there.
You're going to see a lot more player-to-player defense by both ends, on both ends of the floor this year. An absolutely new look defensively for this Gopher ball club.
Nia Beverly, three-pointer is off the rim. Rebound for Kelly Carlis. Her height at the guard position is a really big asset for the Badgers. Here's the head coach of the Badgers, Jonathan Sippis, trying to build a strong program here in a very deep, very competitive Big Ten. He's in his 3rd year as the head coach of the Badgers after coming from George Washington. He was the A-10 coach of the year before he came over here to the Big Ten. Still Gopher basketball. 17 shot clock is going to reset. Just a minute into this one.
You see there Kenesha Bell taking it off the bounce, and that's what she does. That's one of the things that Wisconsin worked on in their shoot-around today, was how do we defend her, slow her down off the bounce, and she gets a foul drawn.
They want to make sure that the Gophers don't have any easy drives to the basket to really play those ball screens hard. Bell, though, sneaks past it, can't save it from going out of bounds, but maybe a good example there, forcing a turnover.
It seems to be maybe a little bit of jitters going on both ways right here.
Fast break for the Badgers. Lewis not able to finish inside. Good interior defense by Taye Bello, who has taken a huge step forward this season. She's averaging more than 7 rebounds than last year. She is a huge asset for them offensively and defensively. Kendra Van Leeuwen can't finish on the left side, and rebound for Taye Bello. Brunson will try her pull-up, and we're still scoreless.
And both teams looking to kind of push the ball in transition here. That's something that Minnesota has been known to do, and here they're going to get a nice leak out.
Fast break opportunity. Pitts kind of slows it down. She's good off the backboard. First score of this one in the Big Ten opener.
And she gets the lid off the bucket.
That's what you need to happen. Especially, luckily no one in the stands here is standing until that first basket is made. That sometimes gives me a little anxiety.
Be up there a while.
Exactly, you gotta hope that doesn't happen. Kenesha Bell chases that one down, and Brunson is off and running. This team so fast with the ball in the hands of those 2 guards.
And Wisconsin did an excellent job that time of getting back to stop that transition. Brunson recognizing she did not have the odd numbers and pulled it back out.
Destiny Pitts, one of the best shooters in the Big Ten, gets that one to go. The Gophers leading 4-0.
Destiny Pitts is a player that in just her last 4 games has really stepped it up a notch in terms of her scoring. And she's deadly. When she hits those first couple shots, you can just see her energy level, her confidence goes through the roof.
Coach Whalen was telling us that it was a little bit of an adjustment for the reigning Big Ten Player of the Year, because she's now having to kind of exert a lot more energy on the defensive side of the ball to really play on both sides extremely hard. This team has such a big focus on defense this year. Bell in the lane. And saved, great hustle, and the bench rewarding Nia Beverly for her diving for that loose ball to maintain possession for the Badgers.
And you can see the way Bell is playing Van Leeuwen, just forcing her, completely taking away that right side, that right hand, forcing her to the left, will not let her come back to the center of the court.
18 seconds on the shot clock for this Badgers offense. We trail 4-2 here early in the first quarter. Lob in to Marsha Howard. She can't power that one in, and a rebound by Bello, which I think I'm going to be saying a lot tonight. That's been her MO this entire season, her improvement from last year with the minutes that she's getting.
Yeah, her and Annalise Lamke inside have really been difference makers early on in this season in the non-conference for the Gophers.
Badgers head coach Jonathan Sippis said he thought Lamke was one of the most improved players in the conference. There she finishes the contact and the foul. A hard zip pass there from Bell. She completes it.
That was an absolutely beautiful feed. Look at she's going to look away. draws the defense and just finds Lamke wide open underneath. That is just a pretty dime by Kanisha Bell.
Something that makes Lamke so important to this team, too. She scored 18 points all of last season, surpassed that in the home opener against New Hampshire. She completes the three-point play to put the Gophers up 7-2. But she is vocal, she is energetic, she is dedicated, always coming early, never got discouraged by her lack of playing time before, and now she's getting the reward.
Well, she's a classic example of preparation meeting opportunity. And you've got to do the preparation first, and Annalise Lamke has done it, and her head coach, Lindsay Whalen, has given her the opportunity, and she's taken full advantage of it.
Handoff to Bell, spin move, left hand doesn't go, and there is Taye Bello cleaning up the glass. She can't complete it, but this season, second in offensive rebounding rate, 23.2% of potential offensive rebounds she is gathering up. Traveling violation, a turnover for the Badgers.
And you can see Howard trying to force the issue there against Bello. And just, Bello is also a very good defender, very athletic, long and lanky, difficult to get around her. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Coming into the game for the first time for the Badgers is Alex Luring. She is a redshirt freshman transfer. Originally went to Green Bay, but transferred closer to home to be with her ill father, who unfortunately passed away in August. But they were dedicated Badger fans. She would go to games all the time with her father at the Kohl Center in Madison. That's a turnover for the Gophers. Or rather, went out of bounds. It'll stay here with Minnesota.
It's a good idea. They've got the double post action, and Lamke again going to work on the backside, really doing an excellent job of sealing the defenders.
Excuse me, screen from Lamke, who slips, but it's knocked away. Wisconsin read that well.
Yeah, they did. Marcia Howard showing her senior leadership right there, doing an excellent job of reading that pass and getting in on the help.
High-low to the low post. Abby Leshevsky loses it, so it's Gopher basketball. Leshevsky, who just came into the game, leads this Badger team in blocks with 19. Wisconsin, by the way, 3 straight turnovers. They're being held to 2 points here early on. Lamke going to work, can't get the reverse layup. That will stay here with.
And that's what's so fun to watch her just interact, even at shoot-around today, with this team. The connection that she has with them, and they're just like sponges, listening to every word that she says. And it's really one of the reasons why she also credits the fact that they are undefeated, because they're willing to come to work every day. They're willing to look at the things that they've done wrong or need to improve upon and get right into the gym and work at it.
Going to the NCAA tournament is a big motivating factor. They were 1 game shy of the Sweet 16 last year with a lot of the same roster. Is Pitts not able to hit from 3. Another offensive rebound. We'll keep it here with Minnesota. The foul is called as Bello was trying to get the post-up position. Marcia Howard is contesting that. And that's going to be her second foul.
So these two are going at it all night long. Marcia Howard, Taye Bello. It's 1-on-1. That's Howard's second foul, so she's going to have to take a seat. Unfortunately for Wisconsin, they lose a lot of size and strength with her on the bench.
Actually, make that her 3rd personal foul, so she's going to be sitting probably
That's
until
even
the 3rd
worse,
quarter.
Sloan.
That is right.
She'll be sitting a long time.
And another turnover for the Badgers. They have 5 tonight coming into the last 3 games. They had just 10 per game. So the Gophers defense, again, showing up there.
And now you can see Jonathan Sippes puts them in a zone immediately with the loss of Howard. Not able to bang inside. So they're going to have to see what they can get.
Apologies, Shelley. It is officially 2 fouls, just for the record.
Okay,
so maybe we'll see here in the first half.
Mind.
No, you are not. Pitts can't connect. Great save by Bello. And it will stay here with Minnesota. They have the energy of a team that is committed to getting one of those top 4 seeds for the postseason tournament. That double bye Of course, they're eyeing more, a deeper run in the NCAA tournament, but it kind of starts there, and the opening of the Big Ten season really makes you think about those goals one game at a time.
Yeah, it really does. And when you're coming off, as you mentioned, this is a team that's tasted success making it to the NCAA tournament last year, so they're hungry for more. They have a coach who's obviously been uber successful and is feeding them what they need to get better.
Pitt's quick catch and shoot is good. It's 9-2. Minnesota, they continue to hold Wisconsin without a point the last 3:30. Nia Beverly, a 4 assist to turnover ratio. Not able to get the assist there. Run ahead for Pitts. That's just an unfortunate save. She jumps off the court, tries to save at the backboard, just did her no favors.
Okay, I'm going to officially say that's the first time I've actually seen a player go off the edge of the court here at Williams Arena.
It's always
freaked me out, but it's never happened until Destiny Pitts just did it.
You know, she did that pretty gracefully.
She
I didn't feel worried. I didn't feel that sinking feeling like, oh no, what's going to happen to that player's ankles or knees?
And the turnover bug is just bitten the Badgers.
They really have not been able to find any kind of rhythm. Here is Pitts, a great effort play, just the backboard in the wrong place for her to make that play.
It is in the wrong place, but that's what Minnesota likes to do. They want to get out and run, and I'm okay the fact that Bell wanted to push the ball right there, just didn't really have the angle to make that pass.
Lamke calling for it inside. Pitts will give it right back to her, and a foul is called. The Badgers are picking up some fouls here with their interior defense.
And that was set up because Lamke did such a good job. She had the ball, she kicked it back out, and then she was able to repost her body. So it's posting up 101. You kick the ball out to your guard, you reestablish yourself in there. She fed her and was able to draw the foul because she had a secure position against her defender.
Coming into the game, you might have thought that the front court would have been one of the weaknesses for the Gophers, but I don't think that's the case. They're known for their guard play with Brunson and Bell, but their post players have really held their own this season. The Badgers still being held to just 2 points. Suzanne Gilreath, one-on-one against Bell. More than halfway through the shot clock for the Badgers, who have really not found their stride in this game.
Well, they're cutting off every single driving lane defensively.
Mashevsky, that rimmed out from close range. Really nothing is falling for the Badgers. Bell pushing. Along the baseline.
So this is what I was talking about earlier. Annalise Lamke, she didn't have anybody. She kicks it back out to Pitts, and she reposts. She reestablishes herself, thus drawing the foul from the defender. She didn't give up on that play.
And the confidence her teammates have in her to give her the ball in a scoring position. Offensive rebound, Pitts, that's knocked away. Saved by Brunson just along the sideline and then coughed up. 2 minutes remaining. And Wisconsin desperately needing a basket. Here's Nia Beverly. She is fouled. It's going to be going against Jasmine Brunson. Beverly has 2 turnovers tonight. She came into this game with just 8 all season. She had a 30-8 assist to turnover ratio. That's how difficult it is to play against these guards.
You know, and Coach Sippis really likes her for her quickness and athleticism and ability to get to the rim right there. And amazingly enough, we're just under 2 minutes in this first quarter. That's the first foul on Minnesota. If that tells you how they're taking serious their defense, that's a perfect stat to look at right there. (11-4) Minnesota. Pitts will dribble it out. Lamke looking for that post up again. Here is Bell, step back, high degree of difficulty shot. She can't get it to go, and off running the Badgers. Loring leads the team,
3-point field goals, and that one doesn't go either.
There's a definite lid on the bucket for the Badgers, just 1 of 10 from the field.
9 points is the fewest scored in a quarter this year for the Badgers. So there's 113 left for them to score 5 to match that and not set a new one. Bello, baseline is stopped wide open for Brunson. She knocks it down. A 3 for the Gophers with under a minute left in the first.
She gains the applause of her head coach on the sidelines. She loves that inside-out action, getting it inside, drawing the defender. Brunson does a great job of separating herself. Easy kick out for 3.
Backdoor cut. Beverly. Help defense there by Taye Bello.
Taye Bello is so good at that backline defense, which is why the guards can put pressure, because they know even if they overplay and they get beat off the bounce, Bello's standing there waiting for their player.
3-point field goal finally goes in for Gilreath and the Badgers, so they will get closer to 9 points.
And now that Gilreath has hit her first one, you definitely have to know where she is on the floor, because she has the ability to light it up.
Gilreath this season a 42% 3-point shooter. Here is Bell with plenty of time. Back-to-back threes for the Gophers to go up by 10. One more shot here for the Badgers. It's Beverly. Luring can't hit, so that is the end of the first quarter. Minnesota leading the Badgers 17-7 with great. Her team at 11-0. Shelley.
She's just done a tremendous job inserting her philosophy, her style of play, even more so I think her mentality and just that understanding of you need to come to work every single day and get better. And her team has bought into that philosophy very early in this season.
Minnesota allows only 7 points in that first quarter. And Wisconsin will immediately turn it over after a very tough first quarter. Offense on the other side for the Gophers, though, was very strong. They have 6 assists on 6 of their baskets.
Well, turnovers has been the name of the game, unfortunately, for Wisconsin. But you have to give credit to Minnesota defensively. They're putting a lot of pressure. And when you're taking away driving lanes and you're getting a hand up on shooters, it flusters you. And that's what's led to those turnovers.
Marcia Howard back in the game for the Badgers. First 2 reserves off the bench for the Gophers, who have a very short one. Mercedes Staples, the freshman, and Palma Kaposi. Wisconsin has 7 turnovers compared to 2 made field goals. That one won't go in for Beverly. She keeps it alive. Van Leeuwen for 3, no good. Bell always keeping her head up, finds Brunson, fast break. The second 3-point play opportunity for the Gophers coming up.
This was textbook transition by Minnesota. Phenomenal job. Bell is leading the charge. She gets it up. But the body control for Brunson going up against the defender, she turned her shoulders to create that contact, protected the ball. You saw the ball on the outside shoulder, so she knew it wasn't going to get swatted, was able to draw the foul, and she's strong enough to get up and put the layup in.
Both these guards are always under control. You can trust them with the ball in their hands. And even in chaotic moments like that, they know what to do and how to score. Jasmine Hale, new into the game for the Badgers. She tries to save it. A jump ball called, 1 against 4. It will be Gopher basketball. Lindsay Whalen has not gone to her bench too often. Shelley, we see 2 players in the game, 2 reserves right now in Staples and Kaposi, but that's kind of an early season storyline too, is how long can she play her starters, specifically Bell and Bello, really big minutes.
Oh, and they've played a ton of minutes, and she's consistently played around 6 players, and there have been games, several, where those starters have been in the entire game. I asked her about that today. Can you maintain that through the Big Ten season? It's a long physical season, and she said, well, we'll see, but it would be nice to have some more depth. And one of those players that they hope to get back to help with that depth is Godiva Hubbard.
Van Leeuwen, who leads the Big Ten in assists, is fouled. There is Godiva Hubbard. Still no timetable on her possible return. It could be weeks from now. She had surgery back in October for a foot injury, but starting to do more activities with the team, shooting around, doing more conditioning work. So some good signs, but still not sure when she will be on the floor, and she will be a big piece.
Absolutely, and she was a big piece last year, and she just complements this guard court. As Gilreath's going to hit another three. We mentioned her. Once she heats up, she's hard to stop, and she's little. She hides out in that corner. You got to find her. But the likes of Hubbard and Bell and Pitts, they work so extremely well together. And Jasmine Brunson, there's quickness there, there's athleticism there, and so you can rotate those four in and really not lose anything.
Gilreath, who hit that last three, is one of 3 Minnesota natives on this Wisconsin roster. That bucket is good for Marcia Howard, who is back in with 2 fouls.
And there you see the value that Marcia Howard brings to the floor. She's that physical inside presence, understands how to run an easy pick and roll and get herself in scoring position.
She's averaging just shy of a double-double this season, 9.9 rebounds, almost 14 points a game.
Well, her presence on the floor is paramount for this Badger team, and that's a great curl cut. She comes around, gets herself in front. She was going to set a screen. She slipped it, saw that she had the lane, got in front of Bello, and that's an easy 2 points for her.
Bello just a step behind on that play. Amani Lewis reads that pass and gets the steal. Badgers could use more plays like that to ignite their offense. Here is the freshman. Lewis knocks down the straightaway three. And a timeout is called on the floor with 8:29 left.
Honor, the first one for the Badgers since 2012. And there you see the field goal production out of the Badgers. But Imani Lewis, along with Marcia Howard, that inside punch, both of those guys have scored in double figures in 10 out of the Badgers' 12 games.
They really need both Howard and Lewis to produce, and maybe they are getting that spark right here in the second quarter. Van Leeuwen guarded by Staples, the freshman. Originally committed to Clemson, but then joined Whalen and the Gophers here from Utah.
That's a little heat check, giving herself a heat check.
In transition, Pitts is fouled, and that'll be 3 free throws coming up.
And guess who the foul's on? That's on Marcia Howard.
Officially, this will be number 3.
There you go.
But still bad news for the Badgers.
You can see in transition, Kenesha Bell doing a great job, and that's just a late closeout on a great shooter, but Pitts does a great job of selling that foul as well.
When she's the trailer, she's absolutely the person you have to know where she is beyond that three-point line.
Marcia Howard not happy that she just picked up that third foul, so she will indefinitely be sitting.
Abby Leshevsky comes back in, 6'3" forward. And one more coming for Pitts. Luring, looking down low. Gets it back, too long.
I think Wisconsin's just settling for too many long shots. They're not attacking. I know Minnesota plays great defense, but you've got to go off the bounce. You've got to put some pressure on them.
It was a great give and go between Bell and Pitts. She got her offensive rebound. Can't hit it, though, as we approach the midway point of the second quarter.
And that defense right there out of Kenesha Bell is just causing them fits. Van Leeuwen picks up her ball, and she has nowhere to go. Bell completely takes away her vision from the center of the court.
It is interesting to see this defensive system work so well for the Gophers after not running it. Here's another look at that play.
It's a tough drive. I like the aggressiveness from Lewis. It just talked about that. Not settling for the three-point shot and putting the ball on the floor.
She is a powerful player. Monday on BTN, start the New Year celebration early with a doubleheader of women's hoops. Nebraska takes on Ohio State, then Illinois squares off with Northwestern. Big Ten women's basketball Monday right here on BTN and the Fox Sports app. Pitts dials up another three. She's having a strong first half.
That's back-to-back three-point attempts by Destiny Pitts, trailing on the break. You cannot let that happen if you are Wisconsin defensively. You have to know where she is. Picking her up at the half-court line.
What was just a couple of moments ago a 7-point lead is now 11 before that basket by Van Leeuwen.
That's a heady play by Van Leeuwen. Minnesota really picking up their defensive pressure, taking away that pass. So you've got to read that and force the issue, and she goes backdoor, and it pays off for her.
Bell, hard dribble, and she finishes. She is fast, but she's also strong and powerful with her drive.
She's establishing herself as one of the best guards, not just in the Big Ten Conference, I believe across the country. She has aspirations to play at the next level. She couldn't be in a better situation with her head coach.
10 seconds left on the shot clock for the Badgers. Lob into Leshevsky, and a foul is called against Minnesota. Destiny Pitts is the first in this game to double figures. Nia Beverly, meanwhile, and Jasmine Hale coming back into the game, replacing Van Leeuwen and Damani Lewis for the Badgers. Beverly going to get to work on this offense with 22 seconds left on the shot clock. High screen frees her up. Gilreath can't knock down her third three, and a rebound for Bello.
Another great defensive effort right there by the Gophers. One and done.
Bell was trying to set up Pitts for another trailing three. She passes it up. Bello working the board, and she is fouled.
You said it, Bello working the boards. She is tenacious going after that ball. It's like her hands are magnets. She does a beautiful drive, gets the defense on her hip, didn't protect the ball, but just stays with it. I mean, if there's one player Wisconsin worked on all day long to box out, it was Taye Bello. And she just keeps coming at you. You have got to forget about the basketball if you're on her. If she's your assignment, forget about the basketball. Just go find her. Base guard her if you have to. Don't let her get the ball.
She is first in the nation in offensive rebounds per game in the country at 5.6. It was interesting when Syracuse came in here, then ranked number 12. Taye had a 2018 game against a ranked team. And Syracuse's head coach Quinn Hillsman said, if you are boxing her out and you get the rebound, you've done something wrong, because they were face boxing her out. That's the kind of assignment she demands on both sides.
And that's exactly what Wisconsin was working on against her as well. And this is a great job by Leshevsky to get in there, getting a little bit of aggressiveness herself on the boards.
No Gophers in any foul trouble right now. Brunson does have 2. She is on the bench right now. Kelly Carlos back in for Wisconsin. We'll stay with the Badgers after that offensive rebound from Hale. Difficult shot, drops. That'll bring the Badgers within 10 with 3:20 left before the halftime break. Bello, high post, the lefty can't get it to go. The rebound for Beverly, a stop for the Badgers. Luring, too strong, and we'll stay with Wisconsin. They've been able to close the gap here in this first half. I think these last 3 minutes, they can be going another run like they did earlier on in this quarter. Feel better going into the
They've
half.
attacked and they've gotten offensive boards, and they've stayed with it. If they could drop their free throws, this would be a much closer game. This is an excellent job. You got to love it when you bring a player off the bench and she's already into the groove of the game and just does a nice job, again, forcing the issue defensively, gets creative with the spin move and is able to elevate.
And that's another freshman who's contributing a lot in Hale of Cincinnati, Ohio. Pitts has a good look. That is too long. Bell sidesteps in the lane. An incredible shot by Bell that she just makes look easy.
There's fancy footwork, and she's just able to create so well for herself. And anytime Kenesha Bell gets 2 feet in the paint, it's trouble for the other team. She's either scoring or she's dishing to somebody to get an easy 2.
I think a lot of what WNBA scouts and front office members look at is, can a player create off the dribble? And she really has the ability to do that.
Absolutely, and especially at her size, at the next level, you've got to be able to be crafty off of the bounce. She's not necessarily going to overpower people, but this is what Minnesota does so well. They get the offensive board, and then the defense has to turn around, and by that time, Kenesha Bell's too fast. You can't turn around, find her, and stop her.
Difficult pull-up jump shot, no good. Bello can't gather the rebound. Approaching 1:30 left before halftime. Wisconsin off to its best start in 9 seasons. Carlos, no good on the left side. Leshevsky cleans it up though.
Leshevsky has really made a difference late in this second quarter for the Badgers. Just getting those hustle plays. She's right where they need her to be, has 3 boards.
Around the perimeter for the Gophers. Bell is going to put up another shot. That's no good. She is 3 for 13 in this first half.
Minnesota's looking tired to me against this zone defense. They've lost their bounce and their aggressiveness to try to get inside those gaps, and they're settling for long shots.
It's going to be more difficult to penetrate and find those gaps. No basket. Foul on the ground against Minnesota. We were talking about free throws, Shelley. Wisconsin came into this game shooting just 54.5% as a team. And you have players like Lewis and Howard that get to the line quite a bit, and that's a lot of points you're leaving off the table. Tomorrow on BTN, catch a doubleheader of men's hoops as Caleb Wesson leads Ohio State into action, followed by Michigan State against Northern Illinois. Big Ten basketball presented by Jeep tomorrow right here on BTN and the Fox Sports app. I think she might have almost banked that one in.
They'll take him any way they can get him at this point.
High post for Bello. Blocked by Luring, but they're going to say it's a foul. Lamke was the shooter there. You can see the good ball movement for the Gophers, who have shown off a balanced offense today.
And that's a beautiful high-low feed between Bello and Lamke. But again, Annalise Lamke set that up. She does a great job of getting that high foot, that inside foot over the defender. And if you're on defensively, you've got to know where that ball is. You've got to jump to that pass so that you can always stay in between the ball and the girl that you're guarding. And in this case, it's Lamke, and she's just going to work underneath. Excellent body position.
She really knows how to take up space with the size that she has in a way that she can score easily.
Those are the things I love. As I was a post player, and so just the intricacies of setting your defender up for the next pass. It might not be the one where your teammate has the ball now, but what can you do to get the next pass? She does it beautifully.
Van Leeuwen to the hole. That's no good. Wisconsin has missed some gimmies right at the rim. And with 16.2 seconds left before the half, it's Gopher basketball. The Gophers have trailed only about 14% of all minutes this season. It's been a dominant non-conference slate, and they head into the locker room up 32-22, trying to go to 12-0, which would tie for the second best start in program history. Year, she hit over 90 pointers the entire season last year, but now looking like that same freshman we saw.
She dropped 35 against Boston College. Incredible performance by her in that one.
6 3-pointers, just a monster
They
game.
needed every single one of them.
Shot is made by Imani Lewis to get things started off on a positive note for the Badgers. We're still very much in this one. Minnesota isn't shooting all that much better than the Badgers, both under 30% in this game. Bell is able to connect, though, pushing the lead back to 10.
Well, we saw in that first half, I thought both teams got a little tired, and then they started to settle for long shots, and tired legs, it's not a good combination when you're taking long shots, and so just got a little ugly.
Do you think players realize the importance of this is the Big Ten season and just how different it is, and what in a lot of cases step up it is from what they've seen from many games?
Yeah, it absolutely is a step up. I mean, you try to, as a coach, if you're doing it right, you're trying to schedule good non-conference competition, and Jonathan Sippes said that even in the pregame interview, that they tried to get a little different flavor for all the looks that they might see in the Big Ten, just to, it's a good gauge to see where your team is, but you're never going to be able to emulate the Big Ten style of play until you get in it.
By the way, for the Badgers, Marsha Howard starting on the bench. She has 3 personal fouls, so that's a big missing piece for the Badgers if they want to make a comeback here in the second half. Down low into Lamke, had that one-on-one matchup that she was looking for, and gets the bucket.
I really like Annalise Lamke, the way she's playing, and you know, we talked about how Lindsay Whalen said she just needed an opportunity, and she's taken full advantage of the opportunity, but the work ethic has always been there, and it's paying off for her. She's very good at getting her feet established, her body established. You see, she had Imani Lewis on her hip, and she just keeps her on that left side hip, and she's able to seal. She shows that high hand and then gets the elbow around to create the space. That's just a tremendous footwork and body control, body positioning by Annalise Lamke. I'm
like you, Shelly, and I love watching post players too, and just the feeling, that internal feeling of where to move as opposed to planning out what you're going to do. Yep. And that's something that's fun
it's hard
to
teach. It's a response, it's a reaction, and you've got to be able to feel the defense, like you said, without hooking them and holding them, and she does just a tremendous job.
Bell can't hit off glass, and a rebound for Van Leeuwen. She had 3 assists in the first half, half of her normal season average. Hoper's defense just hounding these guards on every handoff. Because of that speed, they can play very close. And even when it gets into the post, knock it away. Brunson, it threads the needle to Pitts for 2. A beautiful fast break layup.
And I think that's what Minnesota needs to do more of in this second half. They have got to push the pace in transition. They had some flashes of it in that first half, but I think they can really take it to the hole against this Badger team.
Lewis, hard dribbles, can't get that one to drop. Carlos on the left side does. 11-point lead for the Gophers, who have maintained a solid cushion, except for one 7-0 run the Badgers went on in the second quarter. Lamke has the space, why not? We saw her in shoot-around. She can knock down 3s. She hasn't taken any this season, but she's got that solid mid-range game.
She really does, and you can just see the confidence every time she touches the ball. I love a story like that. I love it when seniors get, it pays off, you know. She was a player that you didn't hear, I mean, she scored all of, 18 points last season?
And how easy would it be to just get
lay down.
frustrated,
Exactly, that's
to
what I'm
want
saying.
to
You
quit,
could just
to
give
be
up.
upset. Yep.
You could just absolutely give up and just say, it's just not in the cards for me. But she didn't do that. So all of you young players out there, pay attention. You never give up. You always work hard. Annalise Lamke did that, and she is getting her dues as a senior.
Listen to Coach Till.
Fires me up.
Bell thought about it and said she drives, holds in the air, can't get it. Carlos pushing. And a foul is called on Brunson. A little bit of a late whistle, or at least Brunson thought so. Here is that fast break bucket. This is our State Farm assist of the game. Great looking fast break bucket.
And it's led by their defense. They got the pick, and Brunson, look at that, one-handed, dropping the dime off the bounce to Pitts. Easy lay-in. That's pretty basketball.
So perfectly in stride. It's like aesthetically pleasing.
Well, you can tell that they've done that over and over and over again. Just understanding the timing of that. That's not, they made that look easy. It's not as easy as they made it look.
A 10-point lead again for Minnesota.
Nice feed.
And great bucket for Minnesota again, and a steal for Bell. She's all by herself waiting for her teammates and wide open. She immediately knew she missed it and got her own offensive rebound.
And Gophers are just out hustling right now. They're after every loose ball. They understand if the shot's going up, the shooter is following. The shooter's the one person that's the easiest to box out.
In the corner, Bell, plenty of time, just rims out. Rebound for Howard. Lewis has room. It'll stay Badger basketball. Approaching 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Carlett gets free. She's met by Lamke. Blocking foul is called. Brunson with another beautiful pass.
Yeah, we talk about Jasmine Brunson and just the court vision that she had. That's a tremendous job. Annalise Lamke slipped that screen, and Brunson is the kind of player that you love because she just kind of sits back. She's one of those sneaky kind of players that you don't really know that she's out there. You talk about Kenesha Bell all the time, but you put Jasmine Brunson on the point, she can deliver the basketball so efficiently.
She goes under the radar for this Gophers team, but is very valuable for them.
She really does, and she's one of the players that Lindsay Whalen mentioned immediately when I asked her, why is this team so much better defensively this year? And immediately Jasmine Brunson was one of the players that rolled off of her tongue because she just said she has the ability to get up and to cause havoc defensively with her quickness and with her athleticism.
And they basically have 2 point guards. That's a huge advantage to have. That shot is no good. Van Leeuwen keeping her eyes up on the floor. Luring was looking backdoor. It wasn't there. Bell going 1-on-2 and hits the layup. She did not slow down, did not pull that. Their state behind her. The Gophers have the largest attended game. That was that home opener against New Hampshire. 14,625 in this building to see Lindsay Whalen's first game as a head coach.
And I know a couple people who were in those stands, and I asked them what that was like, and they're big Gopher fans, and they just said it was awesome to see the energy, to see the place come alive again.
That doesn't go for Marsha Howard, who has had a tough game. Gophers in transition again. This is freshman Mercedes Staples. Pitts lines it up, too long. Badgers on the run. Blocking foul is called against Pitts. 2 free throws coming up here for Jasmine Hale. The Gophers' 11-game win streak is the 4th longest currently in the country. Louisville, Notre Dame, NC State, Virginia Tech there too.
And they've done it because they played good defense, but this time Jasmine Hale takes advantage of the slow rotation over to close out on the drive. She's done some nice things off the bench for the Badgers.
We haven't seen a lot of fast break opportunities for the Badgers today. She was trying to take advantage of that moment.
Perfect from the free throw line. Which was one of the things that Jonathan Sippes was concerned with this Minnesota team, and the number of times that they tend to get to the free throw line this season. And Kenesha Bell is actually the best in the league at doing it. She's only been there 4 times herself.
She's actually 4th in the country in free throws attempted, as Wilma Kaposi is good underneath. 48-32 Gopher lead. Funny thing, though, is that Indiana's Allie Pathberg has actually made more free throws just because she shoots over 80%, so it's funny how that works.
But they haven't needed a lot of free throws because they're doing a phenomenal job just putting on an assist clinic tonight, getting easy looks underneath. Again, that high-low. Taye Bello forces you to come out. She's got those nice long arms. She can see over the top of that defense, and Wisconsin just has not figured out that backside rotation. Minnesota has made them pay multiple times with that high-low pass.
The Gophers have 13 assists on 18 field goals. They're shooting 37.5%, which is greatly increased in the second half. Down low to Bello. From inside the paint and cleaned up by Kaposi. Who's that energy player off the bench. You can see why Whalen has the confidence to bring her in.
No, they're just smart. This entire front court for Minnesota does an excellent job of getting in position when a shot goes up. They understand how to make the reads and how to seal a player off.
Also block a shot like Bello did right there. 2:20 left, and it's Minnesota basketball. This is a 10-2 run for the Gophers right now. Too long on the three-point attempt and ripped away by Bello. Bell, too strong off the backboard, but a solid drive, and a foul is called.
And
more
guess who?
effort plays.
Guess who? With the offensive board. You're going to see her come in all the way from the right side of the floor. Look at, nobody puts a body on her. Didn't even think to turn around and box out the best rebounder on the team. And once again, she sneaks her way in on the inside, on the back side of that. If you're Wisconsin, I know that's going to drive Coach Sippes crazy, because it's exactly what they talked about the entire shoot-around, was identifying where she is and literally face guarding her and putting a body on her. And she got 2 offensive boards in that time.
And the thing with Minnesota is, when you're looking at a scouting report, you're really only looking at 7 players that you have to memorize. So you have to know what the assignment is on Bello, for someone who could play 40 minutes this game. Knocked away by Bell. Just tenacious on-ball defense. That is something that WNBA front offices will be looking at as well, and she gets that defensive board up ahead. Fast break opportunity for Staples. Pitts is fouled, and then Hale falls on her.
I think the roof would have came off this play. Mercedes Staples would have made that fast break layup. She's put up some tough shots, hasn't gotten one to drop yet, but would be nice for them to get a couple bench points out of her.
1:35 left in the third quarter. Pitts taking a moment after, a player falls on your midsection. Not the best feeling.
We talked about how Destiny Pitts can score from multiple positions on the floor. We saw her do it in transition layups, pull-up jumpers, can hit the three. She's also extremely effective at the free throw line.
She's the best free throw shooter on the team. But goes 0 for 2 on that trip, which is just par for the course when you bring up someone's free throw shooting.
She had already missed the first one before I went into it, so I'll take half of the blame.
Lewis travels. The turnover for the Badgers.
This defense for Minnesota, I mean, you know, Big Ten teams better be taking note, because you know that they have firepower in terms of scoring offensively, but I am just tremendously impressed with their defensive effort.
Pitts can't knock it down. Wisconsin, their last field goal came at 6:53. That's a 5.5-minute drought, thanks to this Gophers defense. Hale step back. Another difficult shot. She made one in the first half. That's not easy.
No, she's been really the bright spot, I think, for this Badger offense, especially coming off the bench. She's got 8 points.
Bell able to drive. She gets stuffed.
Well, Jasmine Hale's been that kind of that bright light, beautiful step back between the legs. She's a player they're excited about for the future. Just a freshman out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Super fast player, quick. And there's the three for Staples.
That's what she is asked to do when she comes into the game. She's been quiet throughout her time on the floor, and extended minutes here. That time knocks down the long ball. Van Leeuwen saves it from going out of bounds. 10 seconds left. They'll have the final shot. Great switch off of that pick and roll.
You've got the likes of Ariana Harris, Dominique Oden. They're just really clicking. They had a great win against Ohio State today as well. So lots of interesting teams. I think some teams are going to surprise the usual suspects in the Big Ten this year.
I think it's just a deep conference. You have 6 teams that go to the NCAA tournament last year, which trailed only the SEC and the ACC, and there's just a lot of talent spread out.
And I'm also a fan of the fact that they're playing 18 conference games this season. I think it just helps strength of schedule. I think it helps RPI that that these teams are playing each other more than going outside of the conference. It's going to bode well, I think, for getting more teams potentially in the NCAA tournament.
Brunson quick in the lane, but finds Bell to restart this offense. Just the start of the 4th quarter here at Williams Arena. Hand off to Bell. That's blocked but fouled.
We talked about the teams in the conference and the strength of the Big Ten, and you see 4 teams arguably in the top 20, 21 with Michigan State. They've been a team that a lot of people counted out, but because it was just injuries have plagued them. But they've got healthy guard courts now. You've got Jenna Allen, the lone senior on that team. They knocked off Oregon, who was number 3 at the time, and just really making some noise. And of course Iowa behind the star power of Megan Gustafson. I don't know if there's anybody that can figure out how to stop or slow down Megan Gustafson.
And don't forget about Indiana, which has been receiving votes too.
Yeah, and that was another star we didn't get to, Allie Patberg coming in, the Notre Dame transfer for them. And you know, you talk about losing players like Tyra Buss, and wondering what are you going to do? Well, just insert Allie Patberg, and they pick.
Foul is called going against the Badgers. Gophers leading by 19. Bell attacks, loses it, and then cleaned up by Taye Bello. It's a great feeling as a guard when you feel like your misses will turn into something.
Absolutely, and it gives you confidence. We talked about it. Do they want the stool this way? You have to have the right drinks. I mean, it's a fine art. I mean, I'm telling you what, if you're looking to hire people, go and find out if you have a manager, because they pay attention to details.
And they're extremely dedicated. They're there all the time for practices and games as Pitts goes down. And a 21-point lead here for the Gophers after that Bell jump shot. But it feels nice to give a shout out here around the holiday season and recognize the less heralded members of programs. Bell chases that one down.
It takes a village, that's for sure.
High post for Lamke. There's the handoff. Bell all the way. Can't make the layup. Kelly Carlos, redshirt senior, gets her first bucket of the game. It is a 3.
She can hit, though. She can knock them down if you give her that much time. And that time, Minnesota just completely lost sight of where Carlos was, camping out in the corner.
A block. Leshevsky. Poked away from behind by Bell. Things a little bit out of sorts here. And those things take time. He's in his 3rd year here. You have to wait for the players you recruit to come in and develop.
The advantage, I think that's a beautiful move by Marsha Howard, but the advantage that Lindsay Whalen had when she came in here is the fact that she inherited a program of players who had been to the NCAA tournament, who had tasted and experienced that success. And so they have a head start, if you will, if you're comparing the two programs.
And she is tasked now and kind of has that burden on her shoulders of maintaining that kind of success. So it's different than rebuilding, but still the same kind of pressure.
The other interesting thing that we had a chance to talk about was the fact that these are two teams, border war here. This is recruiting on the line. These teams recruit from the exact same pool. And Coach Sippes was very quick to say, look, I know I'm not a WNBA legend or an Olympian, but I'm still going to recruit in this state. We have different things to offer. And so, you know, you take that into consideration. Iowa is going to have the same thing. Iowa recruits heavily in the state of Minnesota. So it's going to be interesting to see the Whalen effect from the recruiting standpoint.
Another strong post move from Lamke, who is the only Wisconsin native who is on the Minnesota Gophers team. Wisconsin starting this 4th quarter 6 of 7. They're on a 10-4 run, and they're going to chat about it. Tomorrow on BTN, catch a doubleheader of men's hoops as Caleb Wesson leads Ohio State into action, followed by Michigan State against Northern Illinois. Big Ten basketball presented by Jeep tomorrow right here on BTN and the Fox Sports app.
We were just talking about the recruiting wars, and the thing that I think is interesting too now is Lindsay Whalen, the insertion of her as the head coach here at Minnesota, I believe, takes this program from a let's be a really good college Division I program, let's get to the NCAA, because she's got that WNBA professional mindset. It is now, let's create a program that can be a launching pad into the WNBA. And that is the difference.
In her opening press conference, she says, I want to go to a Final Four. I want them to experience what I did in those 2 magical years, her junior and senior years. And it doesn't come off as just talk or just empty words, because she's done it, and she's done lots of things.
That's her normal. I mean, that is her normal. Her normal is WNBA championships and playing in the Olympics. And so when you have that winning mentality, and that's all you've known, that winning way, hashtag.
Yes.
See what I did there?
WHAY.
It's contagious, and that becomes the expectation.
Gophers firmly in control as they have been throughout this second half, but they turn it over. Brunson tried to chase it down, and there's that awkward fall that you talked about. It looks like Brunson's okay, but definitely one of those off the raised floor that you kind of tense up a bit.
I think she hit our cameraman on the baseline, and that actually might have been a good thing, because I think it broke the fall from going directly into the stairs.
I originally didn't see that Lewis fell down as well.
You know, she just, that's a full steam ahead and tried to save the ball right into the cameraman. Takes a dive onto her shoulder. Hopefully, everybody's okay. Maybe some scraped knees. She's good to go.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned not really ever seeing that happening in this building, and we've got 2 tonight. But hopefully Amani Lewis is okay and didn't fall awkwardly, because it's definitely something of a risk. Nice feed from Bell to Lamke. There's a whistle, and that's the kind of fun that the Gophers are having when they're winning and just firing on all cylinders as they have tonight.
They really are. They just look like a well-oiled machine already. Lamke upset with herself for missing that easy too, but she's going to get a chance at the free throw line.
And you can just see the joy that's happening. Of course, they're winning big right now. But getting a feed from your point guard, just being in the motion of playing, and how badly she wanted that. Monday on BTN starts the New Year's celebration early with a doubleheader of women's hoops. Nebraska takes on Ohio State, then Illinois squares off with Northwestern. Big Ten women's basketball Monday right here on BTN and the Fox Sports app. Wisconsin has nearly as many turnovers as made field goals, 16 compared to 18. Beverly is fouled and gets the bucket.
I like that. You see a little bit of edginess right there out of Nia Beverly. We haven't seen that. That's what we haven't seen, that assertive aggressiveness out of the Badgers offensively. She just got ticked off and took it herself.
That's a good tone to set here in the first game of Big Ten play. They know how many good teams they're going to be playing. Take that fire and really feel it. Remember that to the next one.
Yeah, and this has been a Wisconsin team that, as we mentioned, 9-3 coming into Big Ten play, but they've been up and down, and admittingly they'll say, you know, we have a great game at one game, and then the next time we can't buy a bucket, can't play defense. And so it's just been a kind of a roller coaster, but you're gonna have that when you're trying to put new pieces together, and some transfers that have come in and some new players, and really just kind of trying to figure out their identity.
Krzyzewski against Lamke. It's going to be an offensive foul. She used that off arm to try and get around Lamke.
Wisconsin personal number 14, Abby Krzyzewski.
There's now 17 turnovers in this game. Wisconsin came in averaging just about 10 the last 4 games.
And again, you have to credit Minnesota, because defensively I think they've just locked down. They've taken away almost every lane, every opportunity that Wisconsin has tried, and Annalise Lamke did it right there. She's very difficult to get around. The only way to do it was to try to hook her.
Offensive foul called on Taye Bello as she was trying that drop step.
Taking a look at it, she does square up, and then just dropping that shoulder. That's a nice job by Luring to get in there and just kind of fall back as that contact was made.
Luring is someone who's counted on to play inside and outside several positions as Brunson just snatches that away from Gilreath.
That's a perfect example of what we talked about earlier, Jasmine Brunson's quickness. Quick hands, quick feet, quick thinker.
Fitz thought about the 3. And Lamke again finishes under the arm of Carlos. A 3-point play coming up for the senior.
She is having some fun. This is beautiful. Again, defense, the quick hands of Jasmine Brunson. She's going to push the ball, and Annalise Lamke with the steal. I'm just going to start calling that the Lamke. It's a beautiful move. I love how she gets the defense behind her. Faked over the shoulder, drop step, easy lay-in. That's the bucket she took before and was so mad at herself that she missed. She wasn't going to do it again.
And I love that last second adjustment where she was going to go with the left, realized it wasn't a great angle, and then finished underneath the arm of Carlos with the right hand.
And that's how much she's so good at reading where the defense is without having to look and just reacting.
(69-51) is the Minnesota lead. They have not trailed in this game. They haven't trailed very much at all this season. Bell saves it, looking like a wide receiver trying to keep her toes in. And a jump ball is called. Lamke, by the way, today, 6 of 7 from the field, 7 of 8 from the line. She ties her career, or she has her career high was set against New Hampshire. She had 21 points. Tonight she has 19.
It's a pretty good kickoff to the Big Ten season, I'd say.
It sets a tone that they are a strong contender. that the non-conference was not superficial
Right.
in terms of that record.
And that's what a lot of people talked about, is she's going to walk right there, but she knows it. But, you know, this is a great start to the season, Big Ten season for Minnesota, because it's not going to get any easier as you look at their schedule coming up. They play some of the best teams in the league. They've got at Michigan on New Year's Eve, and then they'll get Illinois here, and then it's really tough. Want to talk about tough? They've got to go to Michigan State, and then Iowa is going to come to the barn in mid-January. That's going to be a barn burner.
That's one you circle on your calendar for sure. But it's going to be really difficult for them if they want to challenge those Lindsay Whalen teams for the best start to the season. Or I should say her senior year when they started 15-0. Because to surpass that, they would have to beat Iowa at home. Plus all those other teams you mentioned along the way.
Exactly. We already talked about Michigan State and the start that they're off to, and playing them in the Breslin Center. That's one of the hardest places to play for the opposing team.
Bello navigating around the rim. High-level post work we have seen throughout this game.
This is a Minnesota team that just, each player understands their role. And they know what they're good at. They know what their strengths are. And Lindsay Whalen has got them playing to those strengths. They don't try to do more than they can. Taya Bello is a perfect example of that. We talk about her rebounding, but her ability to get in and bury the defense deep, and she can go off of the bounce. She's very springy, and that length is hard to defend.
She doesn't have huge size, but it doesn't stop her from doing what she wants.
She makes up for in size with her attitude and her tenacity to just go after the ball.
Minnesota has allowed only 70 points once this season. They could hold Wisconsin here in the 50-point range, which would be another great mark for this already strong defense.
Well, both of these teams coming in were giving up an average of 53 points a game, so you knew it was going to be a defensive battle. But I know Coach Whalen's going to be very happy with the offensive production. In fact, I asked her. I said, right now, if you can, wave that magic wand and get anything fixed, what would it be? And she said, our offensive efficiency, hands down. But, that's going to come. Obviously, when she starts the season and she's preaching defense and they're working on defense so much, as much as they are in practice, the offense is going to lag. And you can always play good defense. And now she wants to see that offense rise to the level that she knows that it can be.
Jasmine Brunson exits the game with under 2 minutes left. Tremendous outing for Brunson. 6 points, 2 for 5 shooting. But she also had those 5 assists, including some beautiful dimes.
She was just put on a clinic in terms of assists, but she does that. She plays defense. She pushes the ball. She can score.
Taya Bello leaving the game as well. So well-deserved applause here at Williams Arena. A big effort from Bello, 9 points, 16 boards. Off a curl is Lamke, that hard dribble. She is fouled. And Kinde Bello, the twin sister of Taya, is sent to check in. 1:25 left in this Big Ten opener for both the Badgers and Gophers. Lamke here can tie her career high set in the season opener against New Hampshire. She'll stay at 20 points with 1:23 left. Gilreath fires a 3. She nails it. That's her 3rd of today. She's got 9 points.
She's one of those pieces of the puzzle for the Badgers that they're going to need. She doesn't have a lot of size, but if she gets hot, she can be that outside presence that they need.
Bello on the baseline. Meanwhile, no Badger has reached double-figure scoring.
Well, they've really just struggled across the board, just shooting just under 34%. from the field, and even worse from the three-point line. They've really settled, or especially early on, they had to settle for the long ball and just couldn't get it to drop.
Lewis with a very strong post move. She's got a strong body, strong move for a freshman as Lampe heads it to the bench. And the Gopher faithful raining her with applause as well.
Well-deserved applause. She just did a phenomenal job today. Played with such poise, you know, created that inside presence that they needed. And as a guard, you gotta love having a post player inside like that you know you can deliver. She's got great hands and she's gonna put it in. Had those assist stats.
More substitutions entering the game, including freshman Diamond Bragg, who is guarding the ball handler Staples. This freshman, Delaney Byrne, a rebound for Kende Bello. Under 20 seconds left, as Minnesota is going to go to 12-0 and 1-0 in Big Ten play. Picked up by Bello. Here's Garrido Perez. And that is the final here at Williams Arena.